Hello, I'm Veteran Noob, and that means that as a noob I have a lot of experience not being great at the game. So therefore, I'm going to give the noob's review of the Object 430. This is a Tier 9 Russian medium tank that many people consider good and very, very easy to play. Now, this first clip is just kind of an interesting clip where I bounce a couple shots that never should have been bounced, so there's a lot of cutting, and I make a few very basic mistakes that I leave in there. But other than that, the main part of this review is going to show a rather stock, without a great crew, without full premium consumables, and without a lot of premium ammunition, how I do in a couple battles. It's going to be the best of those battles, but they're not going to be very good. And my goal is to kind of give you a view on how the tank plays in its most stock and basic form. With that in mind, I'm going to be making my way to the railroad tracks on this map. I do mess about here for a bit, looking for some shots that I'm not really going to find. So as I continue to make my way over the railroad, I just like to mention that straight up, without a premium fire extinguisher, you're really not going to enjoy this tank. I have a clip at the end where I kind of forget that I don't have the premium fire extinguisher equipped, and my game is over right then and there, and it's really not a good experience. Normally, the crew, I do have a really good crew in it, but for most of the review, most of the clips I'm going to be showing, and most of the review, therefore, I do not have that crew in the tank. I think I have 6 cents on it in those battles, but I might not even have that. Now here, I make my way to the middle. I think I'm going to get myself a nice shot on the top there. It doesn't really pan out, and the Progetto that I was looking at earlier, he's going to notice me. He's going to put some shots into me when I was looking for a shot at the Scorpion there. It's not the best experience. I did mess it up a bit, but here's where the interesting thing comes in. You know, this is about the part of the clip where I start to bounce these shots I really shouldn't be bouncing. And you're going to see that shot missed snapshot. Okay, it's Russian. That kind of makes sense. But that's something you'll notice, especially without a good crew, is that snapshotting with this tank doesn't work. Its accuracy is not incredible. You do hit some of your snapshots, of course. I don't know exactly how it works, but I'm pretty sure shots tend to go towards where you put the reticle, even if they have that big, circle going on there. Uh, like I was saying with this tank, its view range is also not that great, so without a good crew, you gotta watch out about that. And you might find it a little difficult to play this tank without the premium consumables. The crew is not so important, and the premium ammo doesn't seem to be that important. I was not bouncing too many shots in general with the standard ammunition on tanks that I shouldn't have been bouncing on. I mean, I bounce off the front of an, tier 10s, but not really consistently. Here, however, I will be bouncing a couple shots with the standard rounds, like one off the Scorpion G and one off a G-Sor, if you can imagine, the back of the ST-1, I think it is. So yeah, that's pretty bad. Other than that, the tank is pretty consistent, and I'd actually recommend it as a tank to play at tier 9 if you're just trying to get used to medium tanks in the game. You don't have a lot of gun depression, so you do need to keep that in mind, but other than that, it is pretty easy for me to play, and I'm going to go through some clips and show how all the gameplay is kind of basic and the same. Now, I know I said easy for me to play, and that doesn't mean I'm doing incredible in it. My average damage in it by the time I sold it, which I did in order to buy the tier 10, was somewhere around 1800, which is a fire for effect. It's not bad, it's not good per se. That's where I bounced the shot of the G-Sor. Incredible penetration on this gun, as you can see, and accuracy, of course. Now, I would like to mention that I do generally use XVM, so you're going to see that in some of my replays. I don't always have XVM on while I'm recording the videos afterward, but I do almost always have it on while I play at the very least. Maybe a little bit off tangent there, but I do recommend at least basic mods like that if you want to just improve your game a little bit. They're not an incredible use, but they do definitely help. Now here in this replay, it kind of goes really well. I use the maneuverability of the tank to very quickly rush the hill, which is something you could do in the Object 430, and it is nice if you get into that situation. There are tier 10s on the other team, so if I don't have help, I'm going to just get outplayed and out-tanked. I mean, a tier 10 1v1 is usually going to beat a tier 9, that's just how the game is. I kind of aim in here just a little bit, and that LT is going to come around. I don't know what he was thinking, but I get a nice snapshot there, had the full thing on, and that was a good shot. I come around here. I thought I wasn't going to get the kill. You see a Progetto and whatnot come around, but I do manage to snap it in. And I'm about to go to the top, and I'm thinking of going around into that little corner there by, I think it's G7, up there. But then this bad chat decides it wants to come around, so I'm going to aim up on it. And I'm actually going to manage to pull the kill on it also, which is pretty nice, and that's a really good start to a game. Now, right here, I should have gone for it. This Leopard PTA is going to get himself obliterated, and this kind of makes me feel like not pushing through, but we should have pushed through in my opinion. In hindsight, now while playing I was not thinking about it, but me and this Object 430U can definitely have taken that light tank and the Pat in there and pushed all the way through to the position on that side, and then we could have prevented the heavy tank that ends up being the reason I can't escape up here later in the game from pushing through. Now, while messing about, you do begin to see how the gun depression of this tank isn't the best, as it's kind of going to prevent me from getting some shots that I would otherwise be able to get in on many other medium tanks, or at least have a chance of getting with other medium tanks, but with this tank you just can't do it. Right there, that snapshot, I could have hit it, could have not, that was like 50-50, but that's not what I'm worried about. You're going to see right here in this position, I'm backing up here. This is not a smart move. I should have either tried to get out of here or pulled up to the top earlier before it was too late. Now we're not going to be able to do it. My turret got damaged there, which is not something that happens too often in this tank. Also, the ammo rack on this tank happens to be very good, so you don't need to be worried about that too much. The fuel tanks, though, are pretty weak, so I'm rather surprised that this guy isn't putting shots into my lower plate trying to set me on fire, but, right, thank God for small miracles. So here is the gun depression really coming to bite me. Many medium tanks would have been able to at least put a shot into there. And yeah, now I can no longer escape up there. I try to use this dead body to protect my tank, but it's not enough when the padding gets me. It was a really nice start to the game, though, and I kind of wanted to highlight how the aggressiveness of this tank can really come into play. This replay ends up going pretty well for me. I'm not going to say it was an incredible game, it wasn't an ace tank or anything like that, but the tank just worked as, a tier 9 medium tank can, especially a good tier 9 medium tank. The matchmaking was really good here, and I first aggressively go to get into this kinda forward position up there by the houses. This is a common position. You'll see a lot of medium tanks go here. Sometimes hold down heavy, not hold down, gun depression heavy tanks will go there too, and that's really nice spot. You do need to be careful about these bushes. They are a little weird. Many YouTubers have mentioned it, many people have mentioned it, so I like to hang a little further back. The lack of gun depression also means this is not a perfect spot for this tank, you could argue, but I don't really see another great spot to go on this map. I could try and rush down the 1-2 line, but if even one other medium goes there, it becomes redundant and completely not worth it, and I've had it happen too many times to want to try it, so I hang about here for a bit. I'm going to cut out a bit of it soon because I'm basically just looking for shots and not finding them and back and forth. On another side note there, I do play on the North American server, for those of you who might be wondering that. And I don't know the difference between the servers in terms of skill of players or anything, so maybe my server's easier, maybe it's more difficult. I honestly don't know. And I'm going to try to pull out of this spot when I see I'm just not getting shots, and I think it's going to happen pretty soon now here. Again, I think if I had a little bit better view range or gun depression, I might have been able to get a shot there. But I don't. I try to pull out here. I get shot by the UD-16 as I'm pulling out. Now, I thought I went deep enough around, but the E50 there is going to put a shot into me on my way up and around here. I thought I was far enough away, but there he spots me. He puts a shot in. Thankfully, my tracks eat it, which is also a nice thing about Russian tracks. Yeah, the armor on this tank is really good for a medium, especially when you consider its speed, and that's always nice. I come here in the city hoping to brawl a bit. I'm not too worried about the tanks here. A lot of tier 8s, and those aren't going to make too much of a difference to me as long as I'm a little careful. There I see potential for maybe a side shot or two if I can get... I do know the E50 moved up. It turns out he had pulled back by the time I get there, so I won't end up getting any side shots into him. gonna continue to make my way over to that flank. The Panther 888 comes with me, which is kind of nice. Turns out there are no shots here. Just looking around, waste of time, right? I'm gonna push up further down this street though. I didn't see shots at them and they're not in position to shoot me moving up here, which is always nice. I do like to get into the position sometimes in my heavy tanks, though I've been doing it less recently. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing though. So I'm going to make my way over to the side road there, see if somebody else is looking down that side road, maybe get shots into him, maybe find that E50, which turns out had left already, of course. The UDS is also an option. The Panther 8-8 comes up here, and now while I was backing up, I was afraid maybe I got spotted, because as soon as the 8-8 gets there, he starts pulling back. So I pull back really far. Then as I get to here, I realize that maybe I'll get some side shots on the road where they were being aggressive. No side shots come, but I do decide maybe I can side scrape around the building like the Panther 8-8 is doing, and so I'm going to move up to begin trying that. When I get here, the E50 from earlier decides he's going to make himself known, and he's going to let us not forget about him, so he comes and puts a shot right into my side. We're going to retaliate though, because he's completely exposed. He pushed up way too aggressively. I quickly try and get behind that solid cover. I look for his lower plate, and it goes into his tracks. It's a little annoying because he's a two-shot for me, and that means I'm kind of exposed and probably going to get shot. But thankfully, he gets brought down to one shot. I look for his lower plate, and at this point, I'm kind of thinking what I should do next. See, I hesitate a little here. I go back and forth. I mean, should I reverse around this corner like the Panther is doing? But he's there. I'm not really going to have any room to do it. I end up deciding to maybe look for the UDS up around this corner like I was doing earlier. I don't end up seeing it. So I decide to go back to where the Panther 88 is, maybe weasel myself in there. It's not the best option, but I don't see much else to do right now. So here I am trying to get in. It's kind of just clumsy. I don't end up doing anything. While I'm at it, the Panther will end up pulling out, but this is kind of a nice way to be able to use this tank when it's top tier, kind of like a heavy tank. Reversing around corners and whatnot. You see there the Panther goes. Another Type 59 was there because it was tearing the Panther up. Now, I thought it moved away as it disappeared, and I would get the shot in as it tried to reposition itself there. But it gets there without me spotting it. I missed the shot off it, well, the shot went into its track, which was a little annoying. I then set myself back up here, hoping he's going to come around the corner and I'll be able to grab a quick shot into him. Then I do put the shot up there, hoping to blind shot with him. And I get spotted, so that means he was there. I don't know if I damaged or even hit him, but he was definitely there when I put the shot up. I'm going to quickly back up again and look for a shot on him. Reversing around this corner. Yeah, the blind shot, and I don't get spotted. So that means he's not there. I see the Panther 88 kind of went out, and that the UDS is a little exposed. So I come here to help him, hoping to get some free shots on that UDS, who has exposed himself, and there you go, a snapshot right into the side of him. That was really nice. We're now going to start a little engagement here. I don't know if I should have taken this engagement against the UDS, but it does end up working out for me in the end, so I guess, if it works, who cares? There, I look for the shot, look for it on the UDS. We both snap at each other and miss. I'm going to start pulling back, though, because I realize I don't have support, and an UDS over a ridgeline is going to kill me every single time if I'm exposed like that. I figure I can move through the city. First, though, I'm going to check for that Patton again, because if he's there, I'm not going to be able to just push through the city. He was... Wait, that's not a Patton, it's a regular Type 59. Obviously, I mixed those two things up. I could cut this audio out, but I'm just trying to show... Yeah, I really am a noob at this game, and I do kind of mix these things up rather often. Looking for the Type 59, though. I put the shot into the bush, seeing whether he's there. I don't get spotted, and that means he was not in the bush when I opened fire. So, he moved back in there now, though. I put a shot, and I do rip his tracks off again. This is the second time that's happened to me. I don't remember what hit points he was at before, if somebody else damaged him, so I think the blind shot before did in fact hit. That blind shot definitely hit, and when next time we see spot him, he's spotted, we'll see that he definitely took damage from it. Yeah, he's pulling off. I'm going to start moving up. He's one shot for me if I high roll by just a little bit. And I don't think he can do much. He's going to start moving to take out our mouse chin. So I'm going to move to these dead tanks. going to try to use them as a little bit of a hold down spot. It's going to work out pretty well for me. Again, the armor on this Russian medium tank is rather impressive, especially the turret top. You could make moves like this pretty safely with this tank, something you can do with quite a few other mediums, or even some heavy tanks can't do this. Right now I'm looking for the Type 59. I don't think I'm spotted, so I figure he might come back. And now I know I wasn't spotted because when the 257 comes around, my sixth sense goes off. Interesting thing to remember, I said I wasn't sure if my stock crew has sixth sense, but it does. The commander must not be as stock as I remember him being. Though overall, this crew is not too good. It's trained up to like 80%. Some of them have perks. I think the commander was good, right? I didn't want to not have a commander with sixth sense, so I did not switch the commander. But the rest of the crew, as you can see from the load times, I don't know if you want to check it, but the load times in the view range is not the best. I do still have the modules equipped though. I think I have not binoculars. I have coated optics and vents equipped. I don't know what the third is. I don't remember what I had on while doing this thing, but it was probably a gun rammer or maybe a gun laying drive. It wouldn't have been a medium spool liner though. I only really put those on my super heavy tanks, which are commonly hit by Artie. Speaking of which, there the back chat hits me. Artie does pretty well against this tank, but it does against a lot of tanks. It's really annoying. I'm not too worried about it though, especially not in this game. I get up behind the 257. Now obviously, as earlier, you're going to bounce off the side of the 257 because it's stronger than its frontal armor. It's a little ridiculous that way, but this guy just lets me drive behind him. I don't really know what he was doing. I guess he wanted to try and isolate me, but I'm going to get him here. He lags out, I guess. He doesn't even put the shot in anywhere near me, and I think I grabbed the kill on him. No, the M103 on my team gets the kill, and that's the end of the game. That was a pretty good round, I would say, overall. I did 2200 damage and had 2 kills, and the tank just performed. I didn't do anything special. It wasn't like I got into any incredible positions or did anything amazing. It's just a pretty decent overall tank. It's a jack of all trades that can do it all. It only gets better when it becomes the Object 430U though. This game is only there because I wanted to show, as I said earlier, with a fire extinguisher just burning the whole tank up. If you forget, if you don't have a premium fire extinguisher, it slips your mind for even a second. You're going to get lit on fire pretty easily, pretty consistently. I have a bunch of games. If I wasn't so lazy, I probably could have put a compilation over the 120, 130 games I played in this tank with it being lit on fire. At least its fuel tank's damaged in 1 out of 3 games, and lit on fire 1 out of 4 easily, if not more often than that. The game is not too impressive. I make a few mistakes. I got some lucky early shots. There's a great snapshot into an AMX-30 that comes up, but other than that, it's kind of lame. So let me just start with my end card here, I guess you could put it. I'm new to doing World of Tanks on YouTube. I've done a couple other YouTube videos, none with voiceover those. That's new for me. If any of you guys have any suggestions or comments, leave it in the comment section. I might get salty about it, but I don't really care that much about what you say. I know I'm not great at this game, and I'm an XVM noob and all that. But, it is what it is. If you do want me to review a specific tank in this style, or have some suggestions on what I should or shouldn't do, leave it in the comments. Just remember, I don't have a lot of the tanks, so grinding, if you want me to review a tier 10 or tier 9 that I haven't started working on, that was a beautiful shot. Incredibly lucky. There was no skill in that. That was luck 100% of the time. But yeah, if you want me to grind to a tier 10 tank, I can't promise it'll come out anytime soon. I'm hoping I'm maybe getting a video out once every week and a half to 2 weeks. Once a week if I have a lot of requests for tanks that I already have. Just as a side note, I was asked to, if you guys are interested in joining an active North American clan, then just leave your information in the comment section. I'll try to get back to you. I'm part of a group called Wolf, or a part of Mug. I don't know if you heard of them. They used to be big. They're not really anymore, but now we're the Wolf Pack. Our players are pretty good on average. We do clan wars and all that. If you're interested, just leave me a message and we'll see if you're a good fit for us. There, this object 430 gets a really cheeky shot coming over the side there to get me, and it's annoying. I'm gonna get him back for it later in the battle. But yeah, he was looking for his cupolas there. I don't know why, but you never seem to hit the cupolas of this tank, even though you should be able to pen them and hit them pretty easily. They're not exactly flat against the tank. So, as I was saying, enjoy, guys. I hope you liked the video, liked what was happening. You saw something fun, and if it's what you want to see more of, just let me know. And if you want to see something else, tell me what you want to see. Also, if you guys are interested, I might be able to get some, I don't mind, non-copyrighted, not, like royalty-free music in the background if you would rather have that going on while I talk and stuff. Putting some extra work in if it'll make the video that much better. This was one of the first games I played with a stock setup, so yeah, I forgot about that stock fire extinguisher. Overall, though, yeah, I'd say it's a consistent tank, and definitely a pretty good one to play if you're a noob to the game. And just, this has been the Veteran Noob, and I hope you enjoyed.